Hello and welcome back to GAYSIANS, a PRIDECAST.
I'm Jason the Gaysian.
And I'm Ariana the GAYSIAN.
Yes, let's get started.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna run some current events by y'all. So the first things first are as of June 15th, which is today, New Jersey enters phase two, meaning restrictions are relaxed on activities that can easily be safeguarded, like outdoor dining, gyms, barbershop salons, all those things will be distanced to like a limited amount of people, but progress. Progress. New York is in phase three. I'm not from New York.
I
Ariana, can you
am.
elaborate? Yeah.
Yeah, New York is in phase three, so pretty much everything is opening up right now. Gatherings can be larger. Of course, you should still do everything that you can to limit your risk, so people are still wearing masks and just social distancing as much as they can.
All right. Second on our list is Juneteenth. Juneteenth is this Friday, June 19th, and it is also known as Emancipation Day. So basically, if you don't know, Juneteenth is named after June 19th, 1865, when the last slaves in the United States were freed. Although Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, it took over 2.5 years for it to be into full effect. And June 19th, 1865, marks the day that the last slaves were freed. So it's going to be a whole big celebration. You know, happy day, happy day. So yeah, get your party on.
Okay, our last current event, let me just double check. The Louisville Metro Council unanimously voted to ban the no knock warrant in honor of Breonna Taylor. This is really great news, guys, but don't stop fighting. The cops that are involved in her case have still not been arrested, so this is a really important step, but it's not a complete victory just yet. Okay, so that is all we have for current events. So now for everyone's favorite segment of the PrideCast, what is the most Gaysian thing you've done this week?
The most engaging thing I have done this week was watch Barbie and The Lost Treasure with my sisters for movie night.
That's great. That's a great movie.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
To be honest, I think the most Gaysian thing that I've done this week is this little space bun flannel combination
I'm loving it.
that I've got going on right now.
It's very alien. I told you this already. It's very Six the Musical. It's fun and fresh. You know what I mean? It's
Thank you,
very
thank you.
youthful. We love it.
It's a go-to for me, definitely. Love this flannel too. So
Yup, yup. Very gay.
okay, Jason, do you want to introduce this week's topic to
Yeah.
our listeners?
This week's topic is mental health. Um, yeah.
Appropriate backgrounds for this week, I must say. Nice work. Okay, so we have been talking this week. We have noticed, so social media for the past few weeks now has been on fire with sparks um, of online activism for the Black Lives Matter movement. And now social media is starting to slowly go back to normal, beach pics, summer, got those tan lines going on, a lot of selfies being shared as of late.
Yes. But with that being said, it's very important that we still carry out the lessons that we learned in the last 2 weeks because obviously with the online activism that went on, a lot of people learned a lot of new things that they didn't necessarily know before everything kind of went to shit. So yeah, it's very important that we just kind of center ourselves to make sure that we keep going, even though Black Lives Matter isn't necessarily trending anymore. It was never a trend, but internet wise, you know what I mean? Like you don't see as many posts about it, but it's very important that we keep kind of being activists beyond social media, you know?
And it's always been about that too. We've talked, I know, before about how social media is a really powerful tool. It is a really powerful way to show activism, to show your allyship with the movement, but it doesn't stop there. You need to make sure that you're doing work behind the scenes to make sure that you're doing the best that you truly can,
Yeah.
I think. Um, and with that all being said, um, a healthy mind is the key to continuing um, in doing your part for the community.
Amen.
And that can be really challenging with everything going on. I mean, there's a pandemic, there's a civil rights movement, happening. It's a lot. There is a lot going on. I think it doesn't surprise me that people that might not have ever sought out help for mental health before might be considering to do so right now with everything that's going on.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into our discussion questions. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So Ariana, what has your mental health journey been like?
Oh boy.
You can drink first.
Yeah, let me just have a sip here.
Wait, why don't we just say what we're drinking really quick?
Okay.
This is whiskey and mango juice.
Oh, that's fancy. I just have a little vodka cran for
Yeah.
myself. All right, my mental health journey. Let's see here. It's been a long one, I would say. I guess if we really want to get into it, my I started going to therapy sometime in high school. That's when I really started to feel like it would be beneficial for me to go see somebody professionally to talk about things. And it's been on and off since then. I see a therapist right now. I love her. She's wonderful. It did, though, take me a really long time to find someone that was a good fit for me. I think I didn't really expect that going into therapy. I feel like I kind of felt like it would be a one size fits all type of situation. But I did learn through the different therapists that I have seen that personality was a big thing for me. I needed someone that I felt good talking with, someone that I felt like I could really open up to, because that's the whole point. And it did take me a while to find somebody, but I love my therapist now. She's really great. I really appreciate that she doesn't talk to me just like a professional. Like, conversations seem to flow a little bit easier there, which is really helpful, especially if you need to talk about some more difficult things.
All right.
Yeah. What about you, Jason? What's your mental health journey been like?
Okay. So for me, I don't know if I've said this on the channel before, but my coming out was very hard. Very, very, very rocky. A lot of downs. And I didn't really know about like getting professional um, help in terms of like taking care of myself mentally. Because in high school, you obviously have your counselor, right? Every student has their school counselor. So when things really started to hit the fan, I went to my counselor. That was my first experience in sort of, I guess, venting and like kind of having someone there, like my first form of therapy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, my mental health journey, it was very weird. Like I didn't start formally going to professionals until high school, but it's weird that like I feel like I've been singing since I was like 7, and that was like kind of my mental health. Like that was
Okay.
my way of making that was me therapizing. Is that a word?
Yes, I think so.
That was me making myself feel better. You know what I mean? I feel like I
Yeah.
always have this sort of song in my heart. Like I remember being like 9, and like I would be humming to myself when like my parents would be fighting, or like I got bullied at school or whatever. I would start singing afterwards, and that would make me feel better. But yeah, like started going to therapy, and I didn't start seeing an actual therapist until about senior year of high school. And then after high school, I obviously didn't. I stopped seeing her because I went to college. And then I didn't see another therapist until sophomore year, and that was because things were getting really stressful.
Good
So
old sophomore slump.
sophomore year is rough, bitch. Like, wow.
Relatable. That's relatable.
Yeah. Because Montclair has a really they have, what is it called? Center counseling. We call it CAPS. I'm not sure what it stands for.
Counseling and psychological
Yes,
services.
counseling and psychological services. That was very helpful to me. And yeah, I stopped going after sophomore year because I like it worked very well for me. But yeah, that's been my journey so far.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Love to hear it. You know, it's different for everybody, and I think um at least for me, I feel like I've always been pretty open to talk about my struggles with mental health because I think um there's a lot of stigma around it just in general. Especially with going to therapy, a lot of people feel like you need to have like it needs to be really extreme, or it needs to be like you need to have something like a diagnosed disorder to want to go and see a therapist. But
Yeah.
so I think these conversations are important. Everybody's journey is different. um and going to seek help doesn't have to be seen as a negative or a weak thing.
Yes, exactly. And like it's crazy you were talking about stigma because we're both Asian,
Yes, we are.
Gaysians. Um, and there's like a crazy, crazy, unfortunate amount of stigma
Yeah.
around mental health in the Asian communities. Like
Yes.
I remember even now, like it's very crazy when I bring up therapy toward to my parents or even like my sister or my parents in relation to my sister about my sister. They are they're pretty much completely in denial when it comes to like anything being actually wrong with you. You know what I mean? And like I've talked to like a couple of my friends about it, like their friends being like POCs, and like it's like across the board. Like it's very much it's like seen as a sign of weakness and like honestly like a lot of POCs think that it's a white like therapy is a white people thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I've heard that I've heard people say that and they're like I don't need that like therapy's for white people. I'm like it's not. It's really not.
Yeah. No, that's so important. I think in POC communities and also just in men in general, but especially men of color, um, therapy is not really ever considered. It's considered weak to show your emotions, to talk about your emotions, but it's not a weak thing. And I think that's something that bugs me too, is like therapy is hard sometimes.
Therapy
It's
is fucking awful sometimes.
yeah, like but it's hard work. You're doing hard work to, go back and think about things that have impacted you in your life and do work to learn how to cope better or to learn um more about yourself. And it's a lot of, I know, at least for me, like we set a lot of goals, like things I want to accomplish, and it's it's not an easy thing. It's not like in movies, like you go like lay on a couch and just like talk about your day.
Yeah.
um Especially, depending on what you got going on, it can be really challenging.
Yeah, because the therapist that I've had because like what you were saying like it's really up to like clicking and personality and stuff.
Yeah.
There I've had like I need hard asses. Like they gotta get to the point. They gotta ask me because like I don't know. Like for me, like what gets me the most and what gets me and lights a fire under my ass, like if someone asks why do you think you're doing that, or if they give me directly an answer as to why I'm doing that, because I don't realize it for myself, but that's exactly what I'm doing. Like I was going to therapy last year, and my therapist literally like I was saying something, and then I was like, and I think the reason why I'm like this is because this, that, and the third, and she was like, no, based on what you just told me, I think you're like this because you're scared of this, that, and the third. And I was like,
You know what? A good therapist will roast you sometimes.
yes,
Sometimes you need it.
y'all, that Pikachu meme where he's like, that was me. That's how you know your therapist is working. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want someone that can be supportive and can listen to your problems, but you need someone that will call you out if you're back on your bullshit. Pardon my French, but
yes, ma'am.
that's true. That's true. So, I don't know, do you have any ideas on why there might be such a stigma around mental health in POC communities?
Wait, sorry, say that again.
Do you have any idea why there is this stigma around mental health in POC
Okay.
communities?
So we obviously can't speak on like, well, I can't speak on like Black and like Hispanic communities, but for Asian communities, it's very discipline based. Um, like a thing about Asians is that like Eastern mentality is that they're very like unit oriented. Like they're very much their goal is very much is not individualistic. You know what I mean? So they devote all of their time into kind of they sacrifice a lot of themselves to kind of better their family, to better their workplace, to better whatever. And that's true. Like for in my experience growing up, a lot of people would self-sacrifice, and like what that means is they would sacrifice their mental health, they would sacrifice their happiness, they would sacrifice their like everything that's important to them, so the person next to them can have what they need. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys know the drill. Technical difficulty, but we're back. Take it away, Jason.
Episode of GAYSIANS without one. um, but yeah, to kind of just I guess bring my point home, like nobody wants to be seen as weak, and that's what a lot of people equate taking care of your mind as in the Asian community. Like people will not even speak about it. Like they'll say nothing, there's nothing wrong, or like if you bring up therapy, they're gonna think you're crazy. Like it's very much like a 1950s like mental institution asylum kind of mentality. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah. I get that. I think that a lot, like just in general, there seems to be the stigma that in order to seek therapy, you need to have an extreme mental health condition. And I just don't I would say that everyone should go to therapy, okay? I think it is so beneficial to have somebody that you can talk to that is completely unbiased um with, you know, your other relationships, things that you need to talk about.
yes.
It's someone outside of your friends, outside of your family that you can talk to that in that moment is only concerned for your mental health. Um and that's not to say that they shouldn't call you out if you're part of the problem, but it's really helpful to have an outside opinion. And it also, I think, is really helpful to learn better ways to cope with and to communicate your emotions.
Mm-hmm,
It's not
mm-hmm,
something that is taught all the time.
mm-hmm.
And then it can lead to having better conversations with your loved ones or with your friends
I
to talk
feel like
about things.
there's like literally it's like a no fail kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing for you to lose. I mean, depending on how you think, it is expensive. So there's
Yes.
that. It's
I
not a very
would actually like to say really quick, I don't know what everybody's insurance situation is right now, but with my current insurance, I do not have any copay for my sessions until September. So
because COVID.
yeah, because of COVID. So if anybody is looking for that but doesn't know if a copay is something that they can afford right now, definitely check with your insurance, because with my insurance, I don't have to pay a copay right now.
That's another thing too, because like it's like POC communities tend to be like less financially able to acquire the mental health that they need.
Yes.
And it's just really awful thing. Like it's just really awful cycle. They have more problems when it comes to like dealing with the system or whatever, and it's just, and then they don't have the means to help themselves.
Right.
That's another thing. Like my parents, my mom at least, has always been like, we can't afford it. Number one, and number two, I don't need it.
Right.
When like Christina, like I think you're wrong. Like it's really unfortunate that that's the case, and like I really think that it needs to be accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of the times it's like, oh, my insurance doesn't accept this, that, and the third. And I think universal health care should be a thing, and I think that therapy should be under universal health care because, like you said, everyone should go to therapy. If more people went to therapy, bitch, like the world would be a better place. Like people would get in less fights. People would they would love themselves more, and everyone needs more love. Like,
Yes, everyone needs more love. Happy Pride.
happy Pride.
Okay, let's move on to our last question over here. So, how have you been taking care of yourself during this pandemic?
I haven't.
Okay.
I'm gonna drink.
I love the honesty. Love it.
Um, so if I'm being honest with everybody, I've been in a really big funk for like the last 3 months. Um, because I've always prided myself on being able to pick myself up when it comes to hard situations. Like I've been through my fair share of whatever, and throughout that, I've always been like, I've always told myself like, okay, just keep doing this, keep doing that, like just do the next right thing. You know what I mean? Like, and it most of the time has worked. It really has. But like this, being trapped in our houses in a pandemic, being in a civil rights movement, a racial pandemic, and like receiving a lot of hate from like for being an Asian, and then also on top of like being in school and like a really stressful major, and then also like my family life is just going to shit. Like it's just a lot, and
Yeah.
like for me, it wouldn't have been so bad if I were able to leave my house. You know what I mean? Because I realized this very early on. Like I think this is for everybody. Like the pandemic and the quarantine, not the pandemic, but the quarantine literally forced you to look at your problems dead in the face. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it put all of those things that you were trying to avoid with work, with school, with whatever, right here. And you
Right.
couldn't avoid it anymore, and you were literally trapped until you solved it. And even if you didn't solve it, you were still trapped. You know what I mean? Like, and that was the really suffocating part of it, and I think that's what made me kind of go into my funk. And I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, like it's been really rough. Like, um, cried a lot. Um, yeah, that's this episode is really because we do like just a little insight for you guys. We do the research every week, and like this is really hard for me to research because I feel like I'm not at that point yet where I can help anybody. You know what I mean? And
I
I
get
think
that. I also think, though, I think it is important to be honest with this because I think there's a lot of pressure to just be positive, and I see a lot of toxic positivity on social media. Like, people are thinking that um, the race issues and this pandemic are going to go away with some sunshine and some rainbows, and it's not the case. And while it is important to take care of yourself, and if you need to limit your social media, if you need to take a break, if you need to take a step away from everything that's going on for a little bit to take care of yourself, that's important. But I think that it is also important to be real so that people know that they're not alone if they're struggling.
yeah, yeah. No one is alone.
Truly.
We do theater, guys. We're
Just in case you didn't know.
Um, but yeah, that's really where I'm at. Like I have some goals definitely, and that's kind of driving me on. Like I made a bunch of goals for myself over the summer. So like if anything, like that keeps me pushing forward. And I've picked up a guitar, and that's been really helpful.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I'm also starting a new workout challenge on Monday. Hopefully, I don't quit the first day like I did my last challenge. Um, so yeah, we're trying. It's I don't
I
know.
mean, all you can do is your best, especially with everything going on right now.
Yeah. What about you?
Um, I'm not gonna lie and tell you that it's been perfect. Um, because it hasn't. But I definitely, there are ups and downs. Um, I think as far as what I've been doing to take care of myself, I decided to take a summer class. So I am learning ASL right now. I'm having a great time. My teacher's incredible. That's been really good. Um, I started right after this last semester ended, so it wasn't like I had like a little tease of summer or anything, but it's just one class, so it's not too overwhelming. The only thing is they put the 16-week semester into a 6-week course, and with a language, it's a lot of work. Um but I am grateful that it's kind of given me something to do. It's put me on a schedule still, which is great with, being mostly stuck at home now. Because I don't know about you, but even with things opening up, I'm still being really cautious. I'm still really not going out as much as I can help it. Um, but one thing that I have done is I've been doing a lot of crafting. Um, it's just, that's just self-care for me. I've been doing some painting, some embroidery.
Yeah.
We like to create things. So that's been fun. I think, it's important. Something that everybody can do is just find something that works for you for self-care. And for me, crafting is really good. It's really therapeutic for me. It helps me calm down. And it also with things being closed, especially early on in the pandemic, it was really nice to just have some projects to work on.
Right, right.
I've been doing that. Also, things like this when you can, get on Zoom and talk to your pals is always good.
Yes,
Really helpful.
it's really the little things. Like that's also the thing that I realized. You learn a lot. Like regardless of what, like everyone is going through something. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like even before the like this new civil rights movement started, it was I couldn't even ask if anybody was okay because I know you're not okay. You know what I mean? Like how could you be okay? Like um and it was just like the little conversations that I had like this on Zoom with like us and our friends, or the fact that like I would drop off something to my like on my birthday I dropped off on my 21st birthday I dropped off alcohol to
Hey.
some of my besties, um and that was really heartwarming for me to do, you know what I mean? And like dyeing your hair blonde, it was just it's you have to appreciate the little things because that's all you have right now. It really is. Like it's not the bigger stuff. It just fades away. It becomes unimportant.
Yeah. I've been thinking about how when this is all over and we get back to whatever new normal, which we're starting to approach now, I really hope I remember not to take anything for granted,
Yeah.
because it's the little moments right now that you miss, being in person with people. Or for me, like with school, just getting to be in the studio with our class and
Yes.
creating something or working or being goofy or whatever we had going on. I just miss that so much, and I'm so eager to get back in the studio and just to get back to work with everybody, because I feel like we took it for granted and we didn't know. And how could we know? But
Like we were all asking for a break because like let me tell y'all something. I don't know who's watching right now, but musical theater is a really hard major, okay?
yeah.
It's really freaking hard. And a lot of the times all we wanted was a break. and the Lord gave us a break, but I didn't want I didn't want this long of a break. Okay, it's been like 4 months, and be careful what you freaking wish for. Is all we got.
I guess so.
It was really just like, Lord, give me a couple weeks. He gave me a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, you can, I feel like we can't ever take anything for granted ever again, man.
We can't.
And I've been seeing a lot on social media with this too, is like, we all joke that like 2020 is canceled, but I feel like it really opened our eyes, and we can never go back to before, you know what I mean?
I saw a post. It was like, what if 2020 isn't canceled? What if 2020 is the year that you realize the things that like you've always needed to realize? What if 2020 is the year that you like let go of the people that you need to let go of? Because like what we said, like you had no choice but to confront those problems that were haunting you the entire time.
And it really opened our eyes.
Yeah, it puts a lot of things into perspective, and it tells you what your priorities are. Yeah, like that's regardless of the problems, not to like diminish anybody's problems, but like, you know what I mean? Like it tells you what things are important because of the problems that are brought out.
Yes.
So
yes, that's true. That's definitely true.
What else we got to talk about? Is there a positive spin that we can put to this?
That was our last talking point that we came up with for today, but let's reach out to your friends.
There's no need to rush. It's like learning to fly or falling in love.
Okay.
Take one step at a time.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, you know what? This is what I'll say. Check on your friends, guys. See how they're doing. Reach out to your people. Just the little things can be so helpful right now.
Do a mental health check. Like everybody needs one these days.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go over some resources that we have for this week.
Yes, please.
So I was going to put together a list of resources myself, but in my research, I found this really great article, and it's really in depth. So it does a better job than I ever could have on my own. So it's going to be linked down below as always, but the article is 60 digital resources for mental health. It's broken up into different sections, some for specific disorders if you are reaching out specifically, but also there's some LGBTQIA plus specific hotlines or resources that you can find. There's also for military and veterans, minorities, women, youth, so all sorts of stuff. So go check that out. Definitely, it will be linked down below.
Yes, ma'am. All right, that's all we have for today, right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, once again, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, do it, please.
Yeah, as always, if we have something that you want us to talk about, just put it in the comments below.
Yes, comment down below. Let us know.
Should we give them like a preview, like a hint of, or like just tell them the topic of next week because we already know it?
Give a little hint.
It's
kind of fun.
Be about, if you've been paying attention to the entire episode when we've been singing show tunes, it's gonna be about our major in school. Yes.
Yeah. So get ready for that one, guys.
Doozy, bitch. Like, it's a lot.
It is. It's a doozy. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening or watching, whatever you're doing. We appreciate you guys. And we'll be back next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.